step in, look at you warily, sort of their hands on their weapons, but they don't move to stop you as you move in.
Yeah.
Alauneari has her spear on her back, not in any way drawn. She doesn't make any motion to.
Yeah, I don't have my weapon drawn either.
So yeah, I think my character briefly considered maybe offering weapons, and then just thought, that would really be weird if I was the only one out of all the siblings to actually give my weapons up. Screw that! I'm not looking that dumb.
Well, we are drow.
Tristan whispers to
with promises.
Tristan whispers to Kari, maybe it's kinda disrespectful. You're kind of a weapon, aren't you?
He whimpers, probably.
The beast seems to consider this and then shrug.
Oh, okay.
As you enter the chamber, it seems that two gnomes are indeed engaged in some sort of very heated debate. The pompous gnome sits on the throne, and you believe that he is the lord. He seems to be talking in a very sort of drawn out, slow and haughty manner to a gnome that stands at the foot of the throne and seems to argue against him quite fiercely. The gnome that stands at the foot of the throne seems to be armed to the teeth. He has armor, shield, weapon on, and you get the feeling, or at least Rain and Zyn get the feeling that this is a gnome with some battle prowess. He seems to have some sort of markings on his armor that you would guess marks him as some sort of commander.
For once, Alauneari will actually sort of only go so far around this pit of fire. Assuming it's like a fireplace where you can grill or something. There's chairs. Are they pillars?
Yes, they are pillars.
Well, she will actually only walk so far, and for once, she will actually wait for giving them the respect of waiting, because she doesn't think that's a normal drow behavior.
Does any of you speak gnome?
Alauneari certainly doesn't.
My character does, in fact, speak and is rather fluent in gnome.
All right, make a perception check, please.
Most certainly I can do that. Indeed, I do believe it will be time to use the trait benefit of that. No, don't you select the fucking slave, Grimith. Bang!
If we were to fight these, we'd be murdered so much.
Let's see here. Perception 1, and here's a perception 2. Perception 1.
You hear the soldier at the base of the throne say, "But my lord, you cannot be serious. These are drow. Drow, my lord. They are here to kill us and enslave us all, surely." The gnome on the throne waves a lazy hand. But you see, Sheriff, we must hold to the treaty, don't you know? Yes, the treaty. It has kept us safe all of these years, and it shall do so again, I am sure. The sheriff shakes his head in frustration as he, hears you approach, and promptly shuts up as he steps aside and glares at you.
Alauneari will give a sort of a nod of recognition to the sheriff as she walks forward, looking at her eyes, and looks at Lord Gurney as she gives a sort of slight bow, keeping eye contact, smiling at him, attempting to seem friendly. So the Lord Gurney of Festivals. We, the drow, I, Alauneari of House Vytharia, seek an audience with thee.
Oh, the gnome lord nods pompously. Of course, Lady Vytharia. The drow has always been allies of Festivals, don't you know? He waves a hand.
Alauneari nods and says, I know, and that is why we have come.
Oh,
We wish to extend our friendship. Our alliance have always been one of much necessity. However, we wish to extend this alliance to have more benefits for the both of us.
the Lord Gurney seems to smile. Oh, benefits! I do like benefits, don't you, Sheriff Gunther? As he looks down at the sheriff, who glares up at his lord and then snorts derogatorily as he looks over at Alauneari.
Alauneari just sort of looks at Gurney. She speaks again. We wish to discuss perhaps improvements, perhaps more of a trade relation, perhaps even the position of creating an embassy here so that our two races might have more interaction. We have not spoken for long. We would like such a silence to end.
Oh, that's wonderful. The Lord smiles. Yes. That does seems to be a good idea, doesn't it? He waves at one of the guards next to him, and you see the guard pick up something from the side of the throne and hand it over to the Lord, and the Lord looks like a small stone container. The Lord quickly takes off the lid and sort of puts a grabby hand inside and moves around, and you see him take something away. It looks kind of strange. It seems like a small, almost like a small capsule or pill, but it's encased in very sort of colliery paper, as he sort of slowly starts to unroll the pill from the paper and then shove the pill in his mouth and fancy some treats, he says, sort of moving the stone container over to the guard and sort of motion him forward to Alauneari.
Alauneari nods and says, "Are these made by your people?"
No, he waves a hand. These I have traded for marble. They are from the surface realms, don't you know?
She sort of nods and looks to Rilinid and says, "I'm sure we would all like to try them."
Wonderful! He sort of waves at the guard, who, respectfully or very scared approaches Alauneari and sort of offers her.
Reach out and acquire one of these things and sort of nod her head as a sort of a thanks to the gnome, as she'll unpack the thing and put it in her mouth. What does it taste like? It
tastes strange. It is hard and sort of clacks against the teeth, but also sweet with an exotic minty flavor.
Alauneari doesn't really need to think about this, but she smiles and sort of says, "That is very exotic."
Oh yes, the marble brings in interesting trade goods, don't you know?
Truly, I would like to see more of these trade goods that you acquire here. It is fascinating to us.
Rilinid will acquire a few of the candies and actually give a very polite, gnomish, although with the stone face, "Thank you."
The gnome blinks and
Tristan looks very happy. She loves candy. She's like, "Oh, can I please have two?"
Of course, the gnome offers her candy.
"Thank you." And she stuffed them in her mouth.
Rilinid will not eat any of these, taking these, just files it away in his explorer's outfit.
She just stuffed them both in her mouth, and she looks at her Zakari. "Oh, sorry, I didn't think of that."
Oh.
She takes one out and gives it to
he slobberly starts to eat it.
Alauneari sort of says, "Perhaps more time will be given to us to come and stay here for a while to see the glories of festivals. As you know, it's been quite some time since our two races have interacted, and we would like to see more of what you have to offer. It seems that much has happened with you as the leader here."
As Alauneari says this, Sheriff Gunther sort of clears his throat and looks over to his lord, and sort of he moves forward and takes a half step up and starts whispering something in his ear.
Alauneari sort of nods and looks to Rilinid.
Would this be something meriting another perception check?
You can try.
Okay. Go ahead and go. No. Same. Good job, 7.
No, sadly you cannot make out what they say.
So what's that?
That's fine.
But once again, it seems that the sheriff seems to be sort of put down by another magnanimous hand wave from the lord on the throne. And he looks over at you and says, "Oh, Gunther is such a bore, aren't you, Gunther?" Who snorts.
He looks. I would like to know what he had to say.
Oh,
It's
no.
important that we keep open minds about each other if we are to have a good relationship.
Lord Gurney seems to consider, well, that is certainly true. The good sheriff told me that it would be unwise to let you stay in town.
I see. The good sheriff perhaps is cautious, but his fears shall prove unneeded.
We would
Shall I
not
give
to
him
look
a
to
smile?
impose on this time. However, Rilinid wheels a stone face to the sheriff. I would ask that you not judge us for the perceived crimes and rumors of all of Drow. Would you be so rude and coarse to judge an entire race based upon the perceived actions of few? We have criminals and miscreants the same as you.
The sheriff seems to bite down on what he wants to say and basically just sets his jaws and grinds his teeth looking at you. Well, there you hear, Gunther. Aren't they friendly? He waves another magnanimous hand. Oh, yes, I do believe you are to stay here, yes. He quickly, seems to fetch something from his pocket and takes a step down from the throne. Then, as a sign of friendship between our two people, please accept these. And he hands over a collection of 5 small blue stone tokens with some sort of exotic bird carved into them. These tokens marks you as my personal guests in Festivault and will get you free room and board from the town's finest inn, which you can find close to the marketplace. It is called the Blue Bat.
Alauneari sort of nods and smiles. That is a very friendly gesture of thee. We thank you.
Not at all, not at all. If we are to open these new, bright beginnings between our two people, it is the least I can do. And he smiles a toothy smile to Alauneari.
Nods. Thank you very much, then. Perhaps, she looks around, the feeling here can be a bit tense. She looks to the guards and to the sheriff. Perhaps maybe we may inquire to tomorrow or such, having a dinner together where we can become more familiar with each other.
The Lord Gurney smiles, brights up. Yes, indeed we should, I think. Yes, consider yourself honored guest of Festivault. Whatever you wish, we shall provide. Won't we, Gunther? He looks over at the sheriff, who looks ready to just have a heart attack where he stands. And basically, yes, he seems to readily consider to just attack you on sight, but he doesn't. Now then! The Lord sort of clumsily climbs back into his chair and takes another candy. Very well then, honored guests, we shall have dinner tomorrow. I will send someone to inform you when the dinner is ready for you to attend. He smiles. Until then, you are honored guest, as I said. Consider Festivault your second home.
Alauneari bows. And, it is a great honor to visit your lands.
He seems to, swell with pride at this.
Rilinid definitely bows. Before we should leave, O magnanimous Lord Gurney, and retire for the night at the highly recommended Blue Bat, I am very interested in your history as so lovingly depicted in the beautiful architecture around here. Might I inquire as to where I could learn more of your history?
Lord Gurney seems to consider, oh yes, of course. Then you, my lord, wish to consult a Tamar. He speaks, and even the stone listens. He smiles. He is the oldest and wisest of the gnomes of Festival. He remembers still the day where we drove our hated enemies, the Dwergar, from this cavern. You will find him in Stonecutter's Row, near the quarry. He frequents the Broken Chisel, a establishment for his Stonecutters Guild. He smiled magnanimously. The token should allow you access.
Too kind, Lord.
Very well then, my soon-to-be friends and allies. I bid you a restful time, and I shall see you tomorrow.
Area bows and says, I look forward to it. I'm sure we all do. She smiles.
The Lord graciously nods.
Turns to go. I suppose we will, Alauneari at least will ask the soldier by the door to lead us to the Blue Bat. We have travelled far and are tired.
The soldier nods and says, very well, lords, follow me. As he quickly sort of starts to descend the stairs from the Lord's Hall and into Festival proper.
Whispering to Alauneari as they're walking in Elven, the Gunther, that sheriff, he is definitely the most intelligent of the lot, and he had serious grievances with his lord over us. It does not seem that he would be able to turn him against us, but rather he is a most suspicious individual, and maybe we might have to consult with him at a future time.
She sort of walks to Rilinid and says, yes, he seems to be a dangerous one, that one. He looks to Rain. How did you judge his skill at combat? Did he seem to be one with much prowess?
He seemed to be very well trained.
She nods and turns to Rilinid again. It seems then that we will have to endure him for now. Now, I did not mention the Dwergar. I think that is what might tip him towards our favor. We are here to establish better relations, but also here to scout south along the road for Dwergar, who we have heard have been moving in those parts, perhaps seeking to return to their home here. We, as they, do not see that these creatures come close to Vothis, and so we wish to aid. However, we will not bring this up before we return, I assume. Or should we discuss it at the dinner? The chance of there being Dwergar and the chance of us joining together. And what is our long-term goal if we manage to get our army in here?
As Rilinid nods, I think planting the seed in his mind tomorrow is best, and perhaps asking him if he would be so kind as to take us on a personal tour of the entirety of Fastervold so that we may see it through his own eyes, and then maybe leave by the southern exit so that we may continue along.
Tristan walks over and whispers in a very serious voice, "Can I have one of your candies?"
Nid swivels his head. There is a long pause. No.
She looks very, very disappointed. And then she looks at Rain. "I saw you had one. Give me yours."
Give me your candy.
Right. Rain sighs and pulls it out.
And she puts it in her mouth. She looks at Rilinid. "I will get your candy."
This one has a new taste.
What?
What? Explain. It tastes sour.
She pulls it out of her mouth and says to Rain, "You can have it back. It's sour."
Thank you, Trislan.
If you don't want it, I bet Sakari wants it.
How does Kari react to that?
Sakari likes candy. I didn't know there were more. Taste, I would have taken more candy.
I'm surprised you didn't take the whole box. Out of character, of course.
Perhaps you can share your fascination with this phenomenon at the dinner tomorrow.
With who?
With Lord Gurney, of course. I'm sure he loves talking about these things.
But he keeps saying, "Didn't you know?"
Yes, and you will be polite.
Saying, "No, I didn't know."
I believe it is a gnomish turn of phrase. He sort of looks unsure to Rilinid.
"I will have your candy."
Rilinid manages to keep a stone face.
So the plan now is we go with them tomorrow, we see the city as it is, then we go south to claim the Gnome's Bane. Do you think there is so much that we cannot keep it hidden on ourselves?
Rilinid,
I do not think they would take it as a good gesture
Rilinid,
to bring it here.
twists his head. "I do not think we would want to give it away. I am not sure of their attitude towards it, or whether they have some sort of special Gnome's Bane sensing ability, or... I got a question.
Maybe they can smell it.
DM, if they actually drunk one of the Gnome's Bane potions, do I have any idea what it would do to them?
You would guess that they would die horribly.
Oh my god, that's
Real
so
order the
cool.
points. It's like, really, pause and thinks, actually, if we even brought that to them, they would probably not regard us very well, as if any of them... Then he pauses. And he turns towards Trislan. "You fool! To eat our opportunity!"
She looks weird at him. "What are you complaining? You have 2 left."
Rilinid looks back to Alauneari. "We get candy. We find candy if all possible. If they sell any, no matter the prices. We get the candy. We bring it." This might be the distraction talking, because ever since the candy was demanded from him, he's a little unnerved now. The hands sort of gesturing. "We get the candy. We go. We grade the supply cache. We get the Gnome's Bane. We repackage or represent the candy in some fashion. We cover it in Gnome's Bane. We give it to the Lord. He dies."
Tristan looks weird at him and says,
What do we gain from that,
Aww.
exactly?
"If he dies the same day that our army can be brought in, they have no leadership from their noble house, then they would be easier to take."
I think the dear sheriff would be the next in line, and I would not want him to be anywhere near a leader position when we arrive. I doubt he would take any of our candy either.
Do you think that the Lord would not accept our magnanimous gift, and why would they directly blame us for such a thing? By the time they figured out, it would be too late.
Sort of frowns, says, I don't think that will quite work. It seems too risky. I don't know how long it takes for such a thing to... If he eats our candy right there and dies... Sort of frowns. We would be right there. And rather implicated.
Rilinid just sort of slumps his shoulders a bit. I figured it would serve as a great bribe to allow him to actually bring our forces into, say, the town, maybe sleep on the square for a night.
She nods. I assumed we would do such a gesture by suggesting our alliance against the so-called Dwagar. They are south somewhere, and we wish to move our forces there and take them out before they can move and raid caravans, thereby hurting the delicious trade. We would then move our troops in here, station them for a night, do whatever we wish, and allegedly then move south again. Our mission currently is to move south, do a scouting mission, recover the cash, come back here perhaps, and suggest this idea. We have seen Dwagar. We wish to take them out quickly. We wish to return, and fast as possible, by the secret Rao roads, bring our army bring a small force to this area, and move out, striking out from Festival, making sure that the caravan trade and such is not harmed. We could then have as much time as we want parading around, sending out patrols and the like, protecting caravans against alleged enemies, without actually doing much until we decide to strike.
He might not be so open to having the entire army stay here for as long as you suggest.
We can always assure him that it will be short time.
And don't you think that some sort of suitable bribe for the Slow Lord would be sufficient to manipulate him?
What sort of bribe can we give him?
Candy.
So we will give him candy if he does as we command? That seems unlikely. He seems to be one who already has much control here. I don't think anything we can buy here would be more than a gift, a token of friendship. Perhaps a distraction for him to agree, yes. Do gnomes drink?
Yes, they do. The gnomes here and the drow themselves drink a sort of black, like alcoholic beverage called black whiskey or dark whiskey. The more it is sort of fermented and distilled, the smoother it gets. The better it is, the more smooth it is. One of the sort of finest bottles can be quite pricey, but it is a delight to drink by any who sort of appreciates good alcohol. For the more common people, there is a very dark and musty beer that is usually again sort of brewed with mushrooms and like lichen and moss and things like that. And the drow also from time to time drink wine, which is quite pricey indeed, especially if it is surface.
Right. Perhaps such gifts could be used to lighten his mood before a discussion of further relations. If this could be done without the dear sheriff being there, perhaps that would be so much the better.
Rilinid gives a non-committal shrug.
For now, do you think it would be wise to discuss the idea of defeating the Dwargar, or simply the idea of scouting south?
Perhaps say that we're looking south to inspect rumors of a possible, maybe some kind of menace, some rumors that could be a threat to our own trade interests.
She nods. We wish to secure the area before we start any caravans, then.
Yes, and we could use that as a pretense for actually having brought an army down here in the future.
She nods. My thoughts exactly. And I think dropping it now would make it more believable in the future.
Rilinid nods.
Did Rilinid call Tristan a fool?
Yes.
Oh no, you didn't. She looks really angry at Rilinid. Sister, he called me a fool.
Then stop being one and do as he say.
Just look even more annoyed, and Eidolon starts to growl
Sort of waves her hand at her sister as she goes to look at the map.
She looks even more annoyed, and Zakari can feel the deep hatred.
Zakari looks very annoyed.
Rilinid keeps a stone face.
Rae'nkalar looks to the others. So, do you wish to stay here, or do you wish to go explore the city?